to webinar. Okay, it's 1 o'clock. Hello and welcome to everyone who's joining us live today for Stream's Engage and Elevate webinar. And thank you to those who are tuning into this recording later. I'm Emily Roberts. I'm the Senior Content Strategist at Stream. And if you're unfamiliar with Stream, we provide world-class APIs and SDKs that help developers build chat, video, audio, and activity feeds faster. You can head over to getstream.io to learn more and also see the amazing new brand refresh our design team recently completed. Our customer base ranges from telehealth to marketplaces, dating apps to edtech, live events to social and communities, fitness to delivery to fintech and beyond. We've been fortunate enough to receive many testimonials from these customers about how integrating Stream's real-time communication components has enhanced their app's user experience, engagement, retention, and satisfaction, which inspired this webinar. We believe that every app deserves to and can benefit from elevating the way its users engage with one another online. The subject of today's Engage and Elevate conversation, how tech influences digital connection and community, couldn't be more relevant to our guest because WalkieTalkie isn't just any app. It's an audio-first social sensation that gets Gen Z talking without the pressure of photos, videos, or social feeds. With over 45 million downloads under their belt, I am thrilled to introduce today's guest and our Stream Chat customer, Stephane Giraudie, who is currently the CEO of Pixlo, the creator of the Walkie Talkie app, and the former founder and CEO of Voxy, now Dolby division. With over 25 years of experience as a product leader and serial founder, Stephane's success is a testament to his relentless pursuit of innovation and excellence. I'm so excited to hear Stephane share some of the secrets behind Walkie Talkie's success in creating such a strong digital community and how integrating Stream Chat has supported the company's mission of stress-free communication. And I'm sure you are too, so go ahead and locate the Q&A functionality on the screen instead of the chat, and be sure to add any questions you may have in there during our conversation so we can address them at the end of the webinar. So without further ado, welcome, Stephane.
Thank you, Emily. I'm super happy to be here.
Awesome. So let's dive right into it. We'll start high level, talk about a little of your background and experience first. Can you share your general journey from founding Voxy to your current role as CEO and co-founder of Pixlo, and maybe touch on the key experiences that shaped your approach to technology and leadership?
Oh, yeah. So there's a common thread, right? It's real-time communication. So I was before joining Pixlo, I was the CEO and co-founder of Voxy. So Voxy was an audio and video API developer platform. And I'll share a bit more later on the experience there, but I sold that company to Dolby Laboratories. And that was a really a great experience there. So post-acquisition, I launched the Dolby.io platform, which is the developer platform for Dolby. And that was really something really cool because for the first time, we were able to deliver the Dolby Magic. That's how they like to call it, right? To developers all around the world. When Dolby usually it's to work with Dolby you have to be a big company like Netflix, Apple, and those big guys, right? So for the first time, developers could add Dolby into their stack. So that was really interesting, and we did that at scale, so on a global scale. Yeah, and then I left Dolby to join Pixlo, and I'll tell you more in a second. So starting in consumer, then B2B, a lot of B2B developer platform. And then back to B2C, which I love as a product person. I really love to work on B2C apps.
Awesome. Yep. Back to B2C. And it's so interesting how WalkieTalkie connects with its customers. So let's talk a little bit more about the app. I'm going to share a few slides here. And let's dive into WalkieTalkie and its mission.
Sure. So yes, WalkieTalkie, like you mentioned, is a reimagined social app for Gen Z, right? So the target audience is really 18 to 26, it's our sweet spot. And the mission, I think what we're trying to do is we want Gen Z to talk, right? That's really the key mission behind what we're doing. There's a big issue out there, it's loneliness. I think the US Surgeon General, I think last April said that after the COVID pandemic, loneliness was our next pandemic. And so it's, young adults are actually twice as likely to be lonely as those of age 65. So when you think about that statement, it's pretty sad, right?
Mm,
And we understand we are not going to take away the phones, the smartphones from them for sure. So we want to meet them where they are, right? And instead of like going maybe against the current social apps that are more about endless scrolling. I think TikTok, it's about entertainment. It's about getting, the 7 seconds of enjoyment. So that this is cool, but you're also isolated, right? You're not really interacting with other humans. And that's
yes.
really what's kind of creating that isolation. So we're trying to break that and go back to what social networks were created for, which is like
To
to
be
connect with other
social.
people and to be social and to make friends and to deepen those relationships.
Very
Um,
nice.
yeah, so WalkieTalkie, it's based on this retro cool concept of a WalkieTalkie. I think that's part of the success that we had with the app. And we have about, we're pretty proud of our members right now. We have about 1 to 2 million monthly active users going in the app every day, every month, sorry. And we're growing that base on a global base. So we are in the US, we're in Europe, we're in Latam as well. We're growing that. And maybe if you can get to the next slide, just the concept is very simple. Yeah, the app went, that was part of the story there, but the app went viral also since day one. So my co-founder, Valentin, created the app as he was part of Voxit. He was an engineer, an audio video engineer working at Voxit. And one weekend, he's a gamer. He was, you
Hmm.
know, playing with his friend, and he wanted to create an app that was a bit easier to use than Discord. Discord was a
Mm,
bit too complicated, to connect with his friends. So he created a walkie-talkie as a side project, just to have fun using the Voxit technology. And he put it on the App Store, and pretty immediately, we could see that there was something happening in the app because he went viral. And so, in terms of use cases, I think the app was built around the strategy of the third place. So it's not your home, not work, right? But the social place where you meet new people. So when we talk with our users, I mean, if I want to, simplify, they will say, at least at the beginning, that Snapchat was to talk with your best friends, and then WalkieTalkie was to make new ones. So that's how
mm.
we kind of started. And in WalkieTalkie, we have frequencies. So that's our concept of frequencies. And then you can join those frequencies, and then you can have conversations, of course, and we have different topics. So you can talk about, so we are seeing like they're talking about many different things, right? So they're gaming, and they're using a frequency to chat while they're on a game. They talk about topics, so range from politics to religion to crypto to the last game of the PSG, the soccer game last night. What happened there, or even during the game, they jump in on a frequency and comment the game. They do their homework together. They
Very
share music.
cool.
We have a lot of frequencies around music as well. They find love. We have actually testimonies of people that have actually met their other person, and they
Oh my
got married.
gosh.
Yeah. So that's
Wow.
so it's pretty. Yeah, so for me, I think it's really fun because I was raised in France, right? I'm now in San Francisco, but and we have cafes, right? That's where we were actually going out to meet new people, and that social scene, right, is a bit missing, I think, right now in the US. I have a daughter; she's 17 right now, and there's a lack of physical places where they can actually go and meet people and have fun and in a safe environment. So that's we're trying to build that modern digital third place to give them a place where they can meet people based on interest, based on personality traits, and have fun conversation. So
That's
yeah, this is
amazing.
the app. Yeah, and of course, we integrated a stream for the chat component. So you can see here that once you start making friends, you can, when you add them as friends, you can then chat with them. And we have also voice notes and things like that.
How do you see the natural progression of someone tuning into a frequency and then continuing their conversation with specific people they meet through chat?
Yeah, I mean, that was really critical because when when we started the app, it was a side project. There was not even an onboarding in the app, right? So there was not the mechanism of adding friends. And so the app was more like a utility app with big success. I mean, the numbers were pretty impressive, right, in terms of installs and all of that. But very poor retention per se and engagement because there was no real. That's why they were going back to Snapchat and Instagram after making friends because they were sharing their social handles, to go back to those other apps. But now, thanks to chat and other functionalities that we are going to talk about, they're staying in the app. So we moved from a utility app to a weekly app, which is typically the journey. And now we're moving back to down to a daily app because people are, I think we've made about 3.5 million friendships so far in the app.
Wow.
And for our most engaged cohorts, I think maybe you can get to the retention slide that I have here, which is the next one. Yeah, that's the one I think that is important, right? For any B2C app, it's like, how is your retention going? So once we start making friends, this is the chart on the left. We have some really good numbers there. So it's almost 50% when you start adding only 3 friends, and it goes up right at D30, which is 30 days after you're on board. And also it goes up at D90. So that's really good. But what I wanted to highlight today is the cohorts that are chatting, right? So once you start getting you make a friend, then we are seeing that the retention numbers of our users that are using the chat functionalities, so voice notes and chat, super high, right? So it's a lot higher than the other cohorts. So 60% retention at D1, which is really good, and over 50% at D30. So that's really the goal here, right? It's like to drive the first impression down to the, and we see that chat is actually doing that for us. So we are doubling down, right? We're going to do group chats and other functionalities to make sure that we can not only help them make friends, but once you are a friend, and as you can see, they're spending an hour and a half in the app every day.
Right.
So it's insane. So we want to give them the tools so that they can really deepen their relationships and start progressing in the app, with their friendships should be able to evolve in the app as well, instead of going back to Snapchat and all the other apps.
Absolutely. That's a really big value proposition for chat, taking those third-party apps where people might lose users to, whether it's a social and communities app like WalkieTalkie or something a little bit more even risky, like a marketplace where payments are involved, or if they need to meet up somewhere, like a consignment type of thing. You want to keep that information in the app to not only keep users safe, but just to make sure you're able to retain all of that engagement for your app, better understand your user base and their activity within the app. So that's so interesting. And so this is more chat usage. Wow.
This is just more chat usage, but we are on a very limited use case right now because it's one-on-one chat.
Right.
But even with that, you can see that the usage is really expanding, and we have more than 60% of our MAUs, right? The people that are coming every month that are now using chat. And we are seeing that the people that are doing that have extremely good retention rates. So of course we want to do more. We're doubling down. So we're going to launch, like I said, group chat and things like that. So to allow people to create frequencies together around shared interest, and you'll be able to see, who's online, who's not, and launch a frequency, and it will ping, it will notify, all your friends as well. So a lot of tools to help you better engage with your friends.
And Stream, of course, offers those push notifications, typing
Yes.
indicators, online presence indicators, all those amazing features that really drive users back, like having something appear on your lock screen of saying, hey, your friend is on, and then going there, seeing their typing, sticking around to see what the message will be. So that's amazing that you're going to leverage those. And then building
Yeah, and it's fully
community.
personal. Yeah, and I just wanted Emily to add also that you can fully personalize the experience with Stream. So as you can see here, it doesn't look like Stream. This is the walkie-talkie kind of a experience, but we
Mhm.
are of course using all the APIs that Stream has to offer.
That's
For voice
amazing.
notes
This
as
is
well.
so
Voice notes is a
custom.
big one. Yeah, voice notes are a big one too. I mean, 50% of Gen Z or 56% of Gen Zs are using voice notes as a way to communicate as well. So we see this type of it's perfect for the social walkie-talkie that we have, right? So that this is something that we're going to push even further moving forward.
That's super cool. And I feel like having the voice notes creates even more of that sense of community. And you mentioned you have such a large user base that sometimes when you do make those friends, say you are chatting, you're not able to tune into the frequency at the same time, sending the voice note can make almost like mimic that frequency experience and
Yeah.
have that personalization in there too. That's really,
Yeah.
really awesome.
I mean, we're still small, right? I mean, it's 2 million people. We want to get to 100 million plus, right? So
Right.
that's why I think also working with Stream, we know you can scale, right? We know that we can do that on a global scale. So that was also part of selecting Stream, and making sure that we can ramp up our usage very quickly. Because right now, I mean, the 2 million people, it's really with no marketing. We are not
Mm.
working on acquisition right now at all. So it's really organic. 96% is organic. So we are getting ready as soon as we have all the experiences dialed in. We are going to really crank up the volume and go for much bigger volumes.
Well, I'm really excited to see that because I think that's just proof of what a great tool this is, how strong of a community it builds for users. If they're mostly recommending to their friends by word of mouth or through organic search, if people are looking for a place like this, a third space to connect digitally. All right. And I will stop sharing these slides. Those were awesome. So we definitely talked a lot about the chat API and how currently you're using one-to-one chat functionality in WalkieTalkie. But if you're looking at other apps, what would you say is the importance of having a place for their users to chat, regardless of industry? How does that help build apps of scaling size or who are already scaled to a massive, massive user base? What do you think chat plays as a role in developing that community?
Yeah, I mean, we've already talked about the importance of chat in user engagement. So
Yep.
clearly, we are a good example that chat really helps with retention numbers, right? Because it gives more depth into your product. Um, and I think also we've seen, I think like you mentioned, right, there's a lot of new functionalities. Chat is not what it used to be, right? It's very
Right.
rich now. So you have reactions, you have voice notes, you have, I mean, um, all sorts of media that you can share as well. And it's now going to be augmented with AI companions as well. So we can talk about that a bit later, maybe. But that's really going to give a lot of options for app developers to add that component into their apps. Um,
That's
yeah.
amazing. Yeah, I think that engagement and retention are things we've talked about. Are there any other key metrics that you would say for developers to look for, product managers to consider before implementing chat?
Well, I think as a B2C, I think this is what I love about B2C apps. It's all very data driven. So first of all, you have to
Mhm.
measure, you have to track, and there's a lot of the stack actually that we're using at Pixlo, even if we are very small. It's expensive and expensive. I mean, it's
Yeah.
fast, right? There's a lot of we use a lot of tools to kind of track all the from the attribution down to the onboarding and the retention and the monetization. I mean, we have to have all the trackers, and so your tagging plan, I think, is very important to be able to understand, what's really happening in your app.
hmm
So having said that, if we want to simplify, I think for us, I mean, it's all about like DAUs. have we done this transition from utility to weekly app and now daily app? And of course, you can see that if your daily active users are ramping up. So that's really the key metric. But then, of course, there's like all the retention metrics that we talked about. So you have to look at your all users retention metrics at 30 days, 90 days, and then your engaged cohort. And then you can go down, right, to the details that we like to measure as well is the aha moment, making sure that once you onboard, you can get to that aha moment in a very quick time, because you need to understand the value proposition. What are we offering? Why are you here? So you need to deliver that delightful moment quickly. Otherwise, you're going to lose them, right? They're not going to understand what the app does, and they leave, and you don't see them. That's it. They're gone. So we are working on that, right? And then after that, once you understand what the app does, right, what does it take for them to stay? So there's a process there, and so we are week after week we are measuring and analyzing, based on all the experiments that we're launching. We're trying to understand if we are moving the needle for all of those metrics.
Absolutely. And features like, the multimedia. So at the core of WalkieTalkie, it really is the voice communication. The chat helps people stay engaged once they make friends. What would you say is maybe more critical to building social community, or do you see all types of real-time communication playing a role within different apps that attempt to build digital connection?
Yeah, I mean sorry.
That's okay. It's, with your background at Dolby and Voxeed and just seeing the impact of video and audio, do you think things work best in harmony with having a chat feature which people can revisit later instead of talking live, or like you mentioned with the audio notes?
Yeah, no, I think we found that with live, right, audio and video, this is really nice, because again, we want those connections, right? The voice, I think, is in the video, in some other use cases, I think it's very important, because that's how we make connections, right? So that's really critical, I think, in our vision, for us and for many of people as well. But we're also finding that when you build an app, I think it's you get into what I heard somebody describe that as the togetherness network problem, which means that it's very difficult to scale a use case that is only based on audio and video, because then you need everybody to be there at the same time on the same frequency. And then you really need it's difficult to get all those people connected at the same time. So this is where I think since we started adding more asynchronous experiences, right, to complement in between the live sessions, to give them, an experience and where they can deepen their relationship and start chatting and exchanging voice notes. So it's all asynchronous. So that's how we're actually moving down from a weekly app to a daily app, right? It's because we are adding this extra layer on top of the live experiences. Live is not enough. And we have seen examples in the past, like House Party, Mercat, even Clubhouse, it's not enough to scale on just audio and video. You need to provide more experiences that are more asynchronous.
I love the way you put that, those asynchronous moments where that turn people from weekly users to daily users. So that's great. I'm glad you're seeing success with Stream Chat in that way. And we've, talked a lot about the user experience, how easy it is for people to use WalkieTalkie. Can we shift over to the developer side of things? The difference between building a component like chat or video or audio in-house versus using a third-party API provider like Stream and I know you had a previous partnership with Stream through Dolby, but was building chat in-house ever a consideration? And if so, why did you go with a third party?
Yeah, look, it's always a consideration, because it's it's something that you can build. There are some components out there, but I think it's we're not here to reinvent the wheel, right? There's some people that have, you have built a tremendous, set of tools for us developers to use. And our mission is to get GenZ talking. It's not to reinvent a messaging system. So wherever we can use components that are available, I think that's what we do. So that's my answer here. It's like, and then the scaling part, I think, is the part that people don't realize. And I can talk more about my experience at Dolby, and Voxit of, I started building real-time communication tools about 10 years ago now. And it's extremely difficult to build a system that scales to millions of users. And some of your customers will have millions of users, and you need to be able to deliver that experience without, breaking everything. And I
Right.
think people don't realize the complexity, I think, of scaling. It's easy to get like a very proof of concept, out of going very quickly, even for audio, video, and chat. Yes, you can do that. But to offer that on a global basis and at scale, I think that's a complete different story.
Definitely. And going back to what you said about the live communication complemented by the asynchronous, that's our
Yeah.
goal by releasing our latest video and audio API components to help people scale, to not have to reinvent the wheel of creating video and audio. So if a company, instead of chat, they've integrated our chat API, they want to complement it with a live component for communication. That's our goal there. It's on the same global edge network. So we're really proud of that and how it delivers really quality picture, audio. So we're very excited to see that same use case and help people not reinvent the wheel with audio and video. And even more so on the development side, as we kind of shift back to that behind the scenes look at WalkieTalkie, what trends maybe did you consider going with? Gen Z is a little bit of a different user base than we've typically seen before.
Yes.
And even the impetus for creating WalkieTalkie, of creating a safe digital connection space where you can just have no stress, no pressure. Were there any ideas that you went with originally that you've maybe sunset now, or anything that you're looking to bring now that you've had a little time to gain data on how people are using the app?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the concept of we do small experimentation. So because we have also a very small team, so I think we are focusing more like on the way we look at our roadmap and product stories. It's really we launch new concepts, and we do that instead of going full scale and spending maybe 6 months to develop a full-fledged kind of a version of a concept. We do let's say 3 phases or 3 version of a concept. And if a phase 1 doesn't work, then we stop. Right?
Okay.
If we see that the metrics actually are moving into the right direction, then we double down. So I think it's a constant kind of launching new experiments, and then analyzing and making sure that those experiments are actually moving. Even if it's slight move, right? That's enough. That's enough to say, okay, let's try one more thing.
Continue the phase.
And then you continue and you keep your trend going, right? Every week you keep those experimentations going. And at one point it compounds, right? It really starts moving everything to the right direction. So I think it's like, I think it's very important. And in terms of trend, I think you mentioned trend. I think we, at least in our space, which I think is maybe different for most of your clients, but in the B2C like social app, we're seeing, I'm seeing that the lines are shifting also between a social app and a game. And yeah, I think it's kind of merging. So I think it's like, social apps are becoming games, and games are becoming social apps in a sense. Look at Roblox, for example. Or in Roblox, I think there's so many conversations. It's a game, it's a gaming platform, but there's so many conversations happening in Roblox right now. Discord is also taking that route, right? A lot of so I think it's interesting because it's more than gamification. It's really thinking about your app as a way to engage your users in a fun way. And when you think about a feature, it's not only delivering on what it's supposed to do, but how can we make it more entertaining in a sense, or more fun to use, right? And how can we think about that feature as a game, right? So that's really interesting because it's really forcing us to think differently.
Definitely. And it sounds different than something you could compare, almost like a Snapchat streak, to something like a push notification, which more encourages you to return. But true, what you're talking about with like Roblox and Discord, they're like blurring the lines between those two spaces of games and just social communication. It's more than just a tactic to keep people returning as daily active users. Is that right?
Yes. Yes,
Okay,
that's right.
great. And then what do you think? Do you think that will continue? Do you see anything else? Do you think the gamification or just like blending those two things will evolve into something that almost every app has, whether it's like for B2C? Do you
Yeah,
think
I mean, look
that
at
shopping or
Duolingo
anything?
for yeah,
Duolingo,
Duolingo
yep,
is a good example. It's a
very
good
good.
example, right? You have the strike, you have the leaderboard, you have they get you. I mean, I did a strike of 426 days with Duolingo, right?
Oh my gosh. For what language, if
So
you
for
don't mind?
Spanish.
Spanish, awesome.
So yeah, they made it fun, right? So those are kind of the type of apps where you would not think learning could be in that way, but yes, it made a difference, right? And you can see that now in shopping as well. So there's
Hmm.
some elements of that as well. Yeah.
Hmm. And do you think, I mean, I know WalkieTalkie's audience is global, and that's part of the appeal for people
Mhm.
around the world to be able to talk with one another. But when they become friends, do you think that to combat Gen Z's loneliness, the ultimate goal is getting them to meet in person?
I think, I mean, yes, of course, that would be my
Right.
what that I would wish for them to do is to meet in person,
Or
and
like
but
the
it's not
couple who
always
got
possible.
married?
Yes, so it's not always possible. So I think we want to bridge that gap. And yes, some of the people will meet in person, but we know that most of them will not. Actually,
Right.
I have also, I mean, 56% I think of Gen Z um, have friends online that they never met, and
Oh,
they're real
wow.
friends because they know each other really well. They spend
Right.
again
They talk
two
every
plus
day.
hours per day talking about different topics, and those are considered as real friends. So I think we're going to see that more and more. Um, so I think we need to offer both. I think we need to offer like some bridges where we encourage them to, and there's a new plenty of experiences that can be built, right? To start online and then move into the real world. And I think I see a lot of apps that are doing that right now.
Hmm.
But I think there's also a need of, there's a need for connection. So whether they're online or, offline would be even better, but
Right.
let's start where we are.
That's amazing. And you mentioned, as you're continuing to evolve the app, as you're, I'm sure, testing a few of those new features in the
Mhm.
different phases, is there anything you can share, maybe from an upcoming product roadmap perspective of what
Sure.
might be on the horizon for WalkieTalkie?
Yeah, no, I mean, so there's different like three pillars for us, right, that we're working on right now to improve the experience and make it a safe place. So the first place is the moderation. So we're working
Mm,
with we're leveraging AI, which was not possible before, to make sure that we have no toxicity, right, in the platform. Make sure that the
hmm.
people that are abusing the platform and abusing other people, are removed. So we can do that at scale now through AI, which is very interesting because before you had to have an army of
Right.
moderators to do that,
Yes.
and now we can really do that leveraging AI, which is really mind-boggling. So this is happening now. And there's some really good results already. And then what we're trying to do as well is that building that progression in the app. So as I mentioned, I think in the first slide that you shared, we are audio first. We're not
First.
audio only, right? Because we're
Right.
not committing to the audio format per se. This is a great format for us to use because it's low pressure, like you mentioned, right?
Yep.
It's focusing on the personality and on the person without having to be picture perfect. And so that goes really well with I think that what Gen Z wants to see. But what we want to build now is a progression in the app. So
Hmm.
let's say we're becoming friends, Emily, and we're talking every day for an hour and a half. That's what we have today.
Hmm.
Well, we shouldn't be stick. We should the app should evolve with us, right? So we
Right.
should be able to unlock the app so that we can actually share more, maybe photos, maybe we can get into a video call. I don't know, right? But we should be able to do a lot more based on the how the friendship evolves,
Right.
right? So that's, I think, the next challenge for us is that building that progression. And I think that gamification, I think all the thinking as WalkieTalkie as a game could really help us to build some type of really nice progression in there. So that's something we are working on. And then we're working on um, my North Star metric is really to help my user get into good vibes conversations faster. Because right now it's really hit or miss, right? It's really random conversation. So it's difficult to find maybe, or it's going to take you a bit of time.
Right.
try and to find the right frequency and the right group for you. So we are leveraging again AI to bring topics and personality traits. And then we're going to do a better job at matching people based on those interests and those personality traits. And we'll be able to recommend frequencies based on those interests. We'll be able to um, do those type of things. And we're launching new experiences like the duo mode that we're launching actually next week. The duo mode will
Wow.
be a mode where you can do one-on-one as well based on interest. Instead of being with 5 people or 20 people in our private frequencies. So we'll have
Right.
more intimacy there where you can start a conversation again. And we're bringing that notion of conversation-forward-based conversation games into the platform. So all those classic games that we like to play on weekends around the table, where you have to guess a word, you have to finish a song, two truths and a lie,
Right.
all those kind of mini games in a sense that are really perfect actually for what we have, right? So we are bringing them into the application as well, so that you'll be able to have again that progression. So at the beginning, maybe we do some icebreakers because it's our first
Right.
conversation, right? To just give you some pointers about what to talk about, and again, that will be fully personalized based on AI, based on your interest. Those questions will be personalized, and then the progression will be, the more we talk, then the more the games can get deeper, right? And from light and fun to hard to work type of games, where it will be more based on personality games, where you have to really get to know each other, right? So I think there's a lot of ideas. We're going to try to launch again them one by one and make sure that it's working. But we want to take the app into not only to have good conversations, but also again deepening relationship and friendships. That's what we're really focusing on.
Yeah, and I think that congratulations, first of all, on your upcoming launch. But I think that is a beautiful way to balance innovation with the needs of your users, because walkie-talkie is low pressure, it's just talking. But I love how you're talking about a progression instead of just offering right away a video call, like where it kind of goes against that initial value prop of like, no one has to see you, no one has to,
Right.
like it's low pressure.
It's quite intimidating, right, to get on the video call
Right.
right away. And so here we want to start more about like, do we really like each other first, right?
Right.
Before we
Very smart
just
product
activate those
development.
over.
And I guess
Thank
it would be the
you.
same phase approach of like what you would recommend to other apps looking to create that progression to deepen digital connection. You'd be or come up with an idea, test it in one phase, gather the data. If it's successful, continue on the next phase. So you would encourage other app developers and product managers to take that approach as well.
I mean, why not? I mean, it's again,
Right.
we're taking our cues from the gaming industry, and they it works, right? They have a so again, those lines are merging a little bit. So I think we can definitely take some cues from that industry and bring some of those experiences, into our products.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much, Stephane. I think we've got a couple of questions here. I thought that was an awesome note to end
Okay.
on. So let's go over to these. This one is more related to your career. It is, what piece of advice do you wish you had heard at the beginning of your career?
Ooh.
Take
Well,
a
I mean,
pause,
it's
think about it.
yeah, no, but I think it's I've been in startups a long time. Then I went to corporate 500, right, and
Right.
back to startup. So I mean, I'll speak more, I guess, for the entrepreneur. So I think it's I think maybe the people always kind of and I had to remind my team this week. That's why I'm bringing that up. But it's really about
Mm,
it's a marathon and not a series of sprints, right?
yeah.
It's a long journey, right? When you launch a startup, you launch to build something. It's not going to be overnight, right? I mean, overnight successes exist, but they are pretty rare. So you have to really, take care of yourself first. That's really important to
Mm.
find the balance so that you can last the distance. So yes, you're going to keep sprinting, but again, you have to have some rest in between the sprints, right? So it's important that focus on yourself, find your passion outside of work as well, and make sure that you have time to recharge, because that's yeah, sometimes it's taking a toll on the team. It's go, 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 and you sprint, and
Right.
you just lose a little bit perspective on the, on yeah. And I think your team is more productive, I think, when they can, keep balanced.
Right.
And
I
resilience,
couldn't
I
agree
think, would be another
more.
one.
Mm-hmm.
Resilience, because you're going to get a lot of, I'm fundraising right now. You get a lot of no's.
Yep.
You have to keep going. You have to keep, if you're positive on your vision, and and you think your strategy is right, this is okay, right? You're going to get some no's. It's part of a journey.
Yep.
You're going to, some of the experiments that you're going to test with your users are not going to work. They're going to fail, and that's normal.
Yes.
Um, Actually, I was looking at a study that shows that about 70%, I think, of the experiments will fail. So,
Oh,
so that's the
wow.
norm. And so that's why you need to experiment quickly and do a lot of
Right.
experiments. So um, and that's maybe the other advice I think would be about. I think I've seen a lot of teams where marketing is also sometimes very separate from development and product.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what I've seen working is when you start putting there's no silos, right? You start putting all the product stories when you build your roadmap. It's all about one roadmap. And the growth stories or the retention stories are equal in a sense to the development stories. And they're all part of the same roadmap. And I
Yes.
think that makes for more like a cohesive team first. And I think you deliver a better experience because now everything is focusing on the same metrics. Because if you
Mm-hmm.
have different teams working on different metrics, it's very difficult to kind of put it back together, and you lose a lot of time because it's there's duplicates or you're not aligned, just not
Right.
aligned. So here, you pick one metric. This is the metric of the week, and everybody has to contribute. From marketing and growth to development to design to everybody has to. Okay, how are we going to fix that?
Yeah.
So I think that has been making a big difference. I think in companies that have been using this type of method.
That's excellent. And I'm so glad to hear that advice of just taking care of yourself as an individual and
We
working
forget
together
about
as a
that. We
team.
always put that
Yes.
last. It's like, yes, go, go, go. And at the end, I think, yeah, it's important to. I mean, I love, for example, myself, I do a lot of off-road motorcycling. So I do adventure riding. So I cannot take 3 weeks vacation, but I usually go on my motorcycle with my friends for 3 days in the desert and
Uh-huh.
off-road. And for 3 days, I mean, I can tell you, it's like having 3 weeks of vacation because you
Right.
have to be 100% there, otherwise bad things will happen.
Yeah.
But for me, I come back after those 3 days and totally recharged, right? So I found what I like to do, right? But I think it's important that everybody finds what they like to do so that they can be recharged. When they work, they can be, yeah, fully,
Yeah. And it's more pleasant to
present.
collaborate at work with other people who are equally fulfilled in their outside lives, who can come back
Yes,
refreshed too, and they're all dedicated. Like you said, if you're focused on that recharging time, you're also focused on work when you come back. And I think as if everyone
yeah.
on your team is following that same advice, it just makes for a really good environment. Um, and then we talked a little bit about this next question we got of the app world seems to be changing incredibly fast. How does WalkieTalkie stay on top of those trends? And it sounds like you look to popular gaming apps to see what's happening. Sounds like you have your finger on the pulse of what's happening in the social and community space. Is there anything else you would like to add there?
Yeah, I mean AI, right? I mean San
AI,
Francisco, it's all about AI. So I
right?
think that's definitely something that every app developer has to be working on. I mean, it's not like forcing AI in your app, but I'm sure there's a use case for AI in your app. For
Mm-hmm.
us, I don't want necessarily to add. I have seen that actually. I've seen a lot of apps that were doing AI bots to talk with humans. That's not what
Oh,
I'm trying to do, right? I'm trying.
right.
Well, I mean, this is one way to fight loneliness. It's like to talk to a bot, but I think it's pretty sad, right? If we get there, I mean, it's like okay, so
Yeah.
but AI as a companionship, I think would be perfect, right? Think about moderation. Moderation, bots could really monitor those conversations, and okay, if there's let's say bullying or something, boom, they know exactly what to do. Uh,
Yep.
if you have maybe conversation starter and you don't know what to say, then maybe you ask the companion, the AI companion, to help you And this is where
Oh,
we're
I like
starting with
that.
those kind of icebreakers and questions, and maybe you have somebody, instead of being just questioned, you could be talking, right? Your voice is important, so you could be talking with a bot that will help you kind of have a conversation, because you don't, I mean, we have introverts also on the platform. They don't even know sometimes how to start, how to talk, how to make friends. So as a companion, I think it's going to be really important. Matching, I mean, we talk about matching, right?
Yep.
Before, I think we had static interest and it was very difficult to match people. Now with AI, there's unlimited interest. And we
Wow.
can generate them on the fly, right? And we can match them. So there's some vectorial databases out there where you can start creating a group of affinities and be better at really matching people. So think about maybe AI as a way to augment what you're currently doing, not necessarily replace. And I think we can force some of those use cases, but I think it's more like tools to help us do better, right? And augment what we're currently doing.
I think that's great advice. And I think it's, such a fine line of how do you incorporate artificial intelligence within an app that's trying to create real connections between people. And like you said, there are so many,
Yeah.
I mean, WalkieTalkie is just a testament to
Oh,
that.
yeah.
There are other people who are lonely. You don't necessarily need to talk to AI if you are, because there's someone else out there who could benefit from your conversation. And I think that's great. And then we did touch on this last question a little bit. You mentioned WalkieTalkie is made for Gen Z. How do you find this generation different in terms of app use, marketing, et cetera? We talked a little about app use in terms of how they like to leave voice notes, which I'm still getting used to. It's like voice texting for me. So sometimes I'll say like exclamation point or like heart or something like that. But in terms of marketing, since you're looking to increase marketing for WalkieTalkie, so far it's been mostly organic and word of mouth. What approach are you taking there?
Good question. Yes, I mean we have different ways to look at that. So there's so of course there's some very influential platforms like TikTok and Instagram and YouTube where you can reach a lot of people there. And that's, I think, the success of WalkieTalkie was mostly organic, but it's because our users were actually creating those short videos using the WalkieTalkie in different kind of scenarios, right? And
Right.
those videos typically many of them actually went viral. So every
Wow.
time one goes viral, I mean, I mean, even right now, I mean, we have a very small budget. I mean, we're spending about 2,000 a month, so $60 a day. That's our marketing budget. And then with that, we get 2 million users, right? And it's because our
Amazing.
community is very engaged. They share those videos. And I think on a given month, we have between 5 and 15 million views on TikTok and YouTube and
Wow.
Instagram. And that drives a lot of installs, right? So
Yeah.
then it's our job to make sure that they understand the value prop and to get them into a journey, right? And start the journey with them, which, we still have a lot of work to do there. But it's a complete different strategy, I guess, for B2C apps and for Gen Z in particular. We do also influencer marketing. So we will find influencers that have maybe 1-2 million followers on TikTok and work with them so that we can replicate what's happening in the organic world, right?
Right.
Is that we create those videos with them based on what we want to kind of share, right, with our community. And that has been working for us as well. And then we started creating our own accounts as well. So we have social media managers that are also posting videos on our behalf. So we're creating our own community in a sense. So we have about 400,000 people now following us. Just the beginning, but yeah. So those are, I think, the strategies that we've used so far to get
That's
the
so
most traction.
interesting, like your combination of it doesn't mean if you have a low budget that you're not going to attract the most loyal users, because it sounds like the way you're going about it, even with influencers, partnering with influencers, people trust them. It gains a lot of trust and it feels authentic, and it feels like something that if they see it within their own algorithm, they know that they'll like it. So with all the amazing features that you have within WalkieTalkie, chat, voice, upcoming video, everything that you're, looking for in the future, it seems like it's just going to continue to grow. And we're so happy for Stream to be a part of that experience. And if anyone wants to learn more about WalkieTalkie or learn more about you, where can they find you? Where can they find WalkieTalkie?
So so one thing, so I wanted to precise, we have exactly the same target audience as Snapchat, so 13 to
Oh,
34. but the 18 to 26. So if I look at Snapchat, they have more than 800 million monthly active users. So we have room to grow.
They're
for
out
sure.
there.
Yeah, but where to find us? So we're on the app stores. So we have an Android app and an iOS app, so you can download them, of course. Yeah, it's WalkieTalkie.io as well. So we have a landing page, but mostly on the app stores. And we have I think if you type WalkieTalkie, right, we will be first, I guess, in the ranking there. We have about 220,000 reviews now.
Very
4.6 score. So we're going to keep working on those, but I think we were one of the first kind of a social walkie-talkie app to launch. So we were lucky in that sense to be one of the first. There were walkie-talkie apps before, but we were kind of a new wave of walkie-talkies there, and it's just a concept.
Yeah.
So we're trying to now. Yes, make it.
And I'm sure luck plays a little role, but it sounds like just with your expert product development and your team and just how closely you listen to users' feedback and really honor what they want to get out of the app, it sounds like that was mostly due to you and your team for the success of the app. So
we have a very small team, 6 people. So
well, congratulations to all of them. I hope that they get some good reviews after this. I hope some of the attendees go and download WalkieTalkie. And I will close the Q&A here. And again, Stephane, it has been so wonderful chatting with you. Thank you for your partnership. Thank you for trusting Stream Chat to power your chat on WalkieTalkie. And if you're interested in Stream, learning more about Stream, again, you can go to getstream.io. And thank you so much. And we'll talk again soon, I'm sure. But thank you for your time.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.